What's good, everybody watching on YouTube? We got part 2 to reacting to the Andrew Tate on this on the jail life thing. Him actually giving a behind the scenes thing of it. Like, comment, subscribe, pull up to the Twitch stream so it's not just me and Age of fussing back and forth and shit. Yeah.
And you're not safe from it anywhere anymore.
My mouse not working, y'all. Like,
it's
blowing it. He needs to cut. He needs to cut that. What you rate Tate? What would you rate Tate off of looks?
If I was harming people, I wouldn't be out here as open as I was. The biggest criminals and the biggest gangsters and the most heinous people on earth don't have social media. You know this. If I see a guy with an Instagram pretending he's a gangster, he's not a gangster. The real gangster hasn't got Instagram. But that's the reality of it. You think I'm going to become the most Googled man in the world if I've been running around hurting people? It's absolutely insane. And I think there has been a shift in the consciousness. I think, especially because of COVID and a few other things, people are starting to understand that all these people do is lie. I think people are starting to understand that. And the harder they try and hurt me with these lies, the less people believe it, which is scary for me. Like I said earlier, it's scary. They keep coming up with more garbage. The bullets keep bouncing off. So now they're sitting around going, we can't convince the world this person is a bad person. How do we get rid of him? That's the scary part.
You were going to say something.
Yeah,
follow-ups on that if you want to go
6
there.
months, you know. It's
6 months coming up right now.
It's coming up
yeah.
June 29th, I believe?
Correct.
Okay, you put out a tweet recently. You said the 6-month time limit is running out.
Yeah.
Right? There's zero evidence against me unless
you know when
they
people not ugly but they like
me, right?
attractive, that's
and then
him.
you ask a poll. You said,
I hope
if they
that makes
charge
sense.
me with an empty bullet,
Women never make sense.
and it still takes a year to beat it and it allows them to save face, they're hoping that the world will basically forget about all this.
Sense.
What do you think they will do? And you gave people 3 options. Option 1, let me go. Option 2, charge me with no evidence. Option 3, invent and frame attempt. The results were 38% let me go.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
35% invent.
You saying he
frame
not
attempt.
ugly?
And option 2 in third place.
He not ugly, but he not
charge
attractive.
me with no evidence. 27%, 38%, 35%.
So like me.
So basically, it's pretty even. So what do you think is going to happen here?
The people, the 38% of people who think they're going to let me go, I think are extremely naive. I go to sleep every night, every morning. I wake up instinctually at 5 a.m. because that's when they raid your house. I wake up at like 4:59. I just fucking shoot up because they busted my house 3 times now. It's not nice to have a bunch of men with guns bust in your house. It's not a nice experience. So every single morning I wake up expecting them to just turn up again with something else and drag me back to a prison cell. Who knows what? They'll just make it up. But the fact they made up this particular crime is because it's a hit piece and it's a slander on my reputation.
That's true.
If they would have done the same thing, let's say for tax evasion, would anyone care? No. Oh, rich guy didn't pay a piece of paper. No, no one cares. We have to hurt his name. Human trafficking. Think about that. I said this to the judge. How does it make sense? A man with no criminal record, who is financially successful, decides to begin to human traffic at 35 years of age. I have no financial motivation. It's clearly not my personality profile. I don't need money. Why have I begun to human traffic from nowhere? It doesn't even make any sense.
Just made up, bro.
From a pure logical perspective.
Just
There's
made
no
up.
motive to the crime. Who have I human trafficked? Who is the victim? There's no victims and there's no motive. And here I am on house arrest. It's insane. So yeah, it's genuinely intimidating. I don't know what's going to happen next. I believe they're going to try and charge me with the garbage they have, and I think what they're trying to do is just hang it over my head and keep me afraid.
Do you think the idea of trying to either silence you or make you irrelevant is working? Meaning, do you think you're more relevant today than you were on September 1st? Is that strategy they're implementing working?
No, they're failing. And the reason they're failing is because God's put me in a position where I have to lead from the front. I think that in the days of old, when politics used to mean something, I believe in politics as long as the leader of the country charges on his horse at the enemy at the front. Then you're allowed to be king.
Free Tate, facts, bro. What's good, Wolf? How you doing, bro?
Then I'll listen to your laws. That's politics. When you send other people's kids to die in a war and you sit on your ass, that's not politics to me.
Damn.
But now I'm in a position where I'm spearheading, by God's plan, the rights of basically every man on earth. They could do this to anybody. So I think any man with a brain who's thinking is looking at my position and going, they could hit me or my friends or my son or my dad the same way they're hitting this guy.
And just make it up
and
shit.
That builds a degree of affinity amongst my audience. So no, they failed. They failed and they made a hero out of me, which is what I'm actually...
Like, that's actually crazy. Like, imagine, like, for real, like you actually become him, multi-millionaire, you got a huge influence, and men are becoming men now and shit, and the world is starting to wake up and shit. And like, they just charge you with some random ass, fake ass bullshit and like just try to make your name look bad and shit. Like, that really be like, that's crazy how they could just make up shit. And it's just like, it's crazy, bro. Chilling this Friday, family. Oh, it's Family Friday.
Be scared of. I am scared by the incompetence of my enemy. I am scared by the fact that they are failing so monumentally. If they had been half successful with the cancellation, none of this would have happened. If the cancellation made me an obscure internet personality, it'd be over. If I would have just allowed them to beat me, none of this would have happened. But I beat them. And that's the problem. Now I'm sitting here going, okay, well, after I beat the BBC, after I destroyed the BBC, Tristan gave me a high five. He's like, oh, you wrecked them. They're going to look so stupid. I said, bro, we've sunk the HMS Hood. HMS Hood in World War II, HMS Hood was the British battleship. It was the flagship of the Royal Navy. And the Royal Navy was obviously renowned. It has been for hundreds of years. It was the best battleship. And it was up against German battlecruiser, the Bismarck. And the Hood should have outgunned the Bismarck. And it was the best German ship against the best British ship. By absolute fluke, the Bismarck, on its first volley or second volley, landed a shell perfectly through the top of the Hood and blew up the ammo magazine. And like in the first shot, within minutes, destroyed the entire HMS Hood. Killed like, I think it was like 3,000 people, 2 survivors. You can find the video on YouTube, the Hood blow into pieces. When Churchill found out the Hood was sunk, he said, sink the Bismarck, don't care what it costs. He sent every ship, every plane, every sub diverted from every other mission. Doesn't care if we lose every plane we have, don't care if we lose the RAF. We cannot lose the Hood without him losing the Bismarck. Sink the Bismarck. When the Bismarck sunk the Hood, all of the crew were celebrating, except the captain. The captain updated his will. He updated his will and telegraphed home to his wife and said goodbye, because he knew. When I destroyed the BBC, my brother was celebrating, I knew. I said, Tristan, no. You don't beat the British Broadcasting Corporation and make fools of them like this without some new bullshit. We sunk the Hood. And he's like, oh, we'll see. Oh, who's this? Evie? Evie. I fucking knew it. I'm winning too well. I'm scared by the incompetence of these clowns. But I don't know what.
That makes sense though. Like he winning so, like he destroying the ass. So it's like he knows something like terrible is coming. Like God forbid, like death or something. It's like, you know.
What else am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to lose? I'm genuinely looking for guidance here. Am I supposed to roll over and fucking lose? When they're lying about me and slandering my name and trying to put me back in a fucking dungeon? Back with the cockroaches? All I could do is protest my innocence, but they're such idiots, I make them look so stupid, and then there's egos involved. You think Lucy Williamson hasn't been called into a meeting room with some BBC producer saying, you made a fool of us? Yes, she has. There's egos involved. Big businessmen with business interests have ego investment in hurting me now. And I keep winning. So I don't know, I'm in a very precarious scenario. Do I continue to win? Do I let them win a bit? Do I just roll over and shut up? What am I supposed to do? I don't know what the right move is.
And he being genuine as hell with this, so you can really tell. But the question is, who did he go to ask a question like this for? Like, who did he go to for guidance for this type of question? Like, is it like a Donald Trump or like a? Because nobody experienced some shit like this. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if somebody did experience something similar like this. It's a great question. Who the hell do he go to about this shit, bro? Damn.
It's difficult.
You sincerely don't know.
Hey, what would y'all do if y'all in Tate position, bro? Y'all rolling over and just shutting up. Y'all letting them win a little bit and then kill his shit. It's like what y'all doing if y'all in Tate situation right now?
I sincerely have decided that the best thing I can do is stay true to my faith and stay true to God and tell the truth and fight. The right move for me, I believe, is to fight and fight to the end, because I think that suicide is always the wrong option. I believe if you're put in a bad position, the best thing you should possibly do is fight to the best of your ability, which is what I'm going to do. However, if I was looking at it purely logically without any kind of ideological motivations, perhaps if I would have shut up when they wanted me to, I wouldn't be in this scenario. But that's just not who I am. You know, Alexander the Great didn't have to keep conquering. Genghis Khan didn't need to take Vienna. He could have just chilled. He kept going. So I feel like when I'm in a position where I don't know what I'm supposed to do, the best thing I can do is just look to God and tell the truth. And that's what I'm doing.
I want to ask you one more question regarding human trafficking, because this is a heinous charge, or
Absolutely.
allegedly.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is not lightweight stuff. You famously ran a webcam business.
Correct.
Perfectly legal. Yep. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, I can't tell you how many women are doing OnlyFans these days.
Yep.
Webcam business.
Yep.
How much of a reason was that, a correlation for the human trafficking, the sex trafficking, the webcam business, how much did they correlate
Yeah, they're
that
not-
to? Well, he must be human trafficking. He's running a webcam business. There's no correlation.
Zero correlation.
So they haven't even charged any of the webcam business for any of this.
Zero. And what's crazy is...
It's crazy. His people assume that, right?
It's crazy because one, it's not illegal, and two, you can go drive down the high street of Romania. There's webcam studios it's one of the most popular businesses in the country. It's not even illegal. And that was a past life. You're talking about something that happened 10 years ago.
It was that long ago.
It was about 10 years ago, yeah. It was at the very beginning of it. The very beginning of the whole idea of that industry.
Connect is an application which allows you to take a minute to connect with influencers from all around the world. My name is Andrew Tate, and I'm available to speak directly to you on Connect.
I think it's just perception.
Hush up, boy. No, I'm joking.
I understand I have this perception. And I think a lot of people who are also dislike me.
I didn't shit in like 2-3 days, bro. Like, is it that I need to eat more? Or is it just that I need to shit? Because I really only be eating like twice a day. I eat lunch and dinner, and that's it.
A lot of the reason they dislike me so much is my perception. I've had
I gotta take
people
a
who say,
massive shit, by the way. Not to cut you off, Miss Tate, but I gotta take a massive shit, by the way. That's why I'm talking about this right now.
I hate what you say. I say, what do I say? And after talking to them a while, they say, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Of course.
It's the perception of aggression. It's the perception of masculinity that they're afraid of. It's not even the words. They might like the words. It's my delivery. So I understand perception can be reality to a degree. I accepted that maybe the first month I was in jail. I understand when you have a message which is complicated, and masculinity as a whole is a very complicated tapestry, that the best way to instill it and teach it is to break it down to its core beliefs. So I've evolved way beyond Lamborghinis and chicks, right? But masculinity as a whole is a very complicated tapestry. You need to have the emotionality. You need to have the times you feel like crying and you don't. You need to have the times you can be aggressive. You need to have the times that you can be violent to protect your family. It's very complicated. And you can't teach that, especially to the young generation, in spite of the constant propaganda they have coming in their ears very easily. So I break it
100%.
down to a very core message. And the core message is that I have financial freedom, so it's hard to tell me what to do. And I have sexual access because I'm respected by women. And I have a good network because I'm respected by men. I break it down to those core things. And those core things are what I build that's how you build the tapestry of masculinity. Because if you don't have those three core things, you can never build the rest of it. That's the beginning of it. If you don't have those three things, it's hard to build the rest. So anybody who doesn't look into my message properly, I mean, I'm sure these people who are after me have never listened to me speak at length, ever. Ever. They just look at a picture. He's on a boat. There's 3 girls on the boat. There's no way those girls are happy with that, because my wife hates me. And there's 3 of them. So he has to go to jail. And that's what's happening. It's that baseline. I truly believe it's that baseline. But how else can I teach my message, as complicated as it is, without first breaking down and proving you have success in the most core levels of it, right? Before you learn to box, you jab and you cross. Before you do all the complicated stuff, you do the basic stuff. So a lot of it is people looking at my message, not understanding how detailed it is, not understanding how positive it is, looking at the baseline instincts which I teach and which I use to advertise my success as a whole to people to show and say, look, I clearly know what I'm talking about to a degree because I have things that you want. And you're a man, so you can't tell me you don't want them. Every man wants this. Every man wants one of these. And they take all this and they try and weaponize it and use it against me. And you're right. It's feminism as a whole that has this idea that if a man is a man, unapologetically, and he doesn't apologize for being a man, that he's a bad person. Which we've discussed at length, and I've discussed a bunch of times, but it's truly the most crazy thing about all of this is when shit hits the fan, it's exactly the kind of men they hate that they want.
The masculine men, that's exactly what they want. What's good, Danny? Oh. Oh, shit. What's Danny? Wait, that's Kadani. Wait, she love Kadani. Oh, I just read the end. What's good, Kadani? How you doing? Man, this that boy Delta. Oh, what's Delta, brother? Oh yeah, you did. I forgot your real name was Kadani, I think. What's good, Delta? How you doing, bro?
Every single time. You can go out to a bar in America and you can stand there and argue with a feminist and argue with her to the end of time. And if someone ran in there with a gun, she would say, hey, you go. You're the misogynist. You go protect me. The feminist guy who was on my team, I don't want him to go. I want you to go, please.
We don't want Dylan Mulvaney on the front lines.
Of course not. And it's hypocritical. And it's hypocritical, and it's done on purpose. It's purported by the Matrix. It's done to attack the baseline masculinity of men because they don't want men to be masculine. Because when you're masculine, you say no to things. True. I saw a really interesting study once that was it had testosterone level, and it was linked to your capability to disagree with people. The higher your testosterone level, the more likely you are to disagree, because at a baseline level, back before we were more civilized than we are today, if you disagreed with someone, you had to fight him.
Interesting.
You had to fight that man. For you to sit and say you are wrong, there had to be a possibility of violence. If you didn't have the capability for violence, you didn't say you didn't say they were wrong. You just agreed with stuff, right? So they don't want men who are standing up and saying, I don't believe in X. They want to reduce our testosterone levels to our eunuchs, so that we sit and say, well, I may not agree with it, but what can I really do about it? It is what it is. And then they have absolute control.
Do you think history favors?
That's facts. I'm good. I changed my name since I'm gonna be unbanned on Friday. Or from Twitch.
That ideology, where history eventually, a group of men stand up and say, yeah, listen, we've had enough. This is not going to be happening.
I do.
Yeah, it's hard to react to shit. It's not hard to react to shit like this, but like this is like a genuinely interesting ass conversation. Like listening to this shit is like actually like crazy. Like, it really got me like thinking for real. Like, cause like I hope to like spread a positive message towards the youth and people coming up too once I get bigger and shit. Like, so it's like I'm just listening and taking the shit in. So like, if I'm not talking about when I'm reacting, like I'm really like watching the video for real. I got banned for calling a nigga the F word. Of course you did. Why you call? I mean, I don't understand that. Like, I mean, if he the F word, he the F word. I mean, it's true. If he suck dick, he gay.
I do believe that in history it's always been the same. I believe it's always been a select group of good men who are up against evil. And I think they've always been outnumbered, and it's always been difficult, and they've always suffered. All of them. When I was in jail, the amount of letters I got from people, and it was just names of, and I'm not comparing myself to these people. This is the letters I got of Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, everyone who was unjustly imprisoned. Everyone's gone to jail. Because when you stand up for something, they end up trying to put you in jail. When you're a good person trying to do good, the evil, the matrix as a whole is going to try and throw you in jail. That's what they do. That's the punishment for it.
Is Tate the Martin Luther King of 2023, bro? Is Tate the Martin Luther King of this year and shit, bro?
And history's always been the same. It's always been a small group of outgunned.
Nah, he right about that though. Yeah, like, he right about that shit for real.
To the detriment of themselves, too principled to allow injustice and evil to thrive. And they stand up and they're outgunned and they're outnumbered, but they're like, no, I have to tell the truth. And if you play a video game and you're the good guy, when you get to the boss at the end, he has more life than you. He has more hit points and he moves faster and he's a cheater. He cheats. He cheats. The bad guy cheats, but you still win because you're good. And that's how the battle's always been. I would love for the world to be another way, but I don't think it's ever been that way. I think if you find any time in history, it's always been the same story.
Tate really
and
a
now
real
I'm
ass
in a
nigga,
position
bro.
where, like I said earlier,
Tate really a real ass, genuine ass, truthful, honest ass nigga, bro. Like, if you don't like Tate, you obviously just like a dumbass. Like literally, like you literally a dumbass. Like you have no reason to dislike this man. He's a man of God. He preach all the shit that you should not be doing, bro. Like it's just so much shit, bro.
What am I supposed to do? Do I have a life path in which I can genuinely help people? And do I have a life path in which I can genuinely do some damage to the evil to the world? Or am I just going to disappear like a coward and let them lie about me and do my time and shut up and delete my Twitter account and just go away?
You know how sometimes like I've been in sales for quite a while.
Now I want to start trying to help people when I can get big enough for my voice to be heard.
If a guy who doesn't have any responsibilities and he's single, he has a $30,000 month, boom, he's going to Vegas, having a good time, and then he doesn't work as hard until he runs out of his $30,000. 3 months later, I got to go make the $30,000 again. Oh my God, panic! I got to pay my bills.
You know, this is so crazy because y'all know I got a sales job now. I've been into sales job for like 3 weeks, and I've been definitely doing good at sales and shit. Literally, I heard the same story from about like 4 people before, like how other people, like once they have like their first 6-figure month or whatever, like they make like 10K that month, boom, they'll go out, blow all that shit, then the next month worry about how they gonna pay their bills and shit. It's like
being on the phone, let me buy this watch and make 40 grand, I'm going out again. So it's very inconsistent, right? And then as you're in sales longer, you're like, okay, the profile of somebody that's gonna be more consistent is not a single guy. It's a guy that's married, kids, homeowner, and all those 3 are signs of what? Married, commitment. Homeowner, commitment, responsibility. Kids, commitment, responsibility. Last time we didn't talk about your kids. At this point, I think it's public, video, your daughter running to me, give daddy your kiss, all this stuff. Everybody knows at this point. When you're in jail, sometimes I sit there and I got books on my desk. I'm like 50 books behind, and I like to read. I know you don't talk about reading a lot, but I like to. I'm 50 books behind. But I bet if you're in a place where you're in jail, you're forced to think. You're forced to, Andrew, you don't have the phone, you don't have the computer, there is no emergency podcast. Go away and think. You're sitting there, you're like, okay, family, kids, you know, what it's really all about. Those decisions, when you think about
Tell them Illuminati vibes, how you been on that, bro? I've been fantastic, bro. Like, I never like, you can't complain about shit, bro. Like, I'm literally alive. I got a fucking set up the stream on, bro. Like, I'm healthy as hell, bro. I got a good ass job just teaching me the skills I need to set me up for life, bro. Like, I got a car. Like, I literally have not a single fucking thing to complain about at all. So if any one of y'all ever say y'all having a bad life, whatever, bro, just remember like gratitude for real. Like, be grateful for the shit that you got. Like, that, if you have a negative mindset, bro, like, well, if you being negative, bro, just think about like the shit that you grateful for real. Like, nigga, you got a phone. Like, they got people outside the country that don't even much got that shit at all, bro. Like, you really gotta think about shit like that. And then that's the type of shit that we be talking about at the job. Like, before we go knocking and shit, the leader of our office, it's only like 12 of us. No, it's like 15 of us total. It's a smaller office. I fuck with it though. And the leader, like, he always give like a little, like, quick little speech and shit, like, be grateful. Like, so I ain't got shit to complain about ever, bro. I ain't never got nothing to complain about.
your kids. Does it influence you to
Hey,
say,
appreciate you for asking though.
hey, what are you doing this? You know, why are you going through all this stuff? Maybe you got to make some
That's what's up.
changes in your
For sure.
lifestyle. And if yes, in what areas? Or does it say no, double down even more because I'm fighting for them?
And that's a really interesting question. I'll start by saying how thoughts in jail are different than thoughts in the outside world, because this is actually an observation I had. In the outside world, I don't think you carry a thought for very long that you don't want to carry. You can sit and think about something if you want to. But if you don't want to think about something, you just get your phone out. Something pops in your head, you get your phone out and distract yourself. Or you get in your laptop, or you call someone, or you do something, right? It's not very often in the real world.
Point.
It's not very often in the real world you have a thought you don't want in your head, and you have nothing to take it away. You have no phone, you have no outside interaction, you have nowhere to go.
What a perspective.
Nothing. You're just stuck with it. You're stuck with
Makes
that
sense.
thought. So there were times in jail where, for the first time, like, I have a lot of mental control, but there was the first time ever I'm battling with my own mind saying, I don't want to think about this. And I put another thought in the way. It was on the door. It was knocking on the door all the time. And this is for weeks. Because every day is the same. You never get the outside interaction. And you also, what made it worse is, you never get the answer. You know, like the open loop. If you ever say to somebody, I'm gonna tell you something, I'll tell you later. And it bothers them. That's what jail's like, because you might think of something, doesn't matter what it is. I won't say what my thought was, but I'll give you an example. Let's say I thought, when did Constantinople fall? What year? I can't just Google it. I don't know. So it's stuck in your head, right? So if you have this negative thought, you don't know the answer. Normally in life, when you want to know something, you find out. But in jail, you don't. So you're like, I don't know. You got this in your head and you're like, I can't get this out of my head. So when you have a negative thought, especially if there's an open loop to it, you need to know something or you want to know something. You can't get it out of your mind. I would sit there for hours just meditating, trying to just keep the door closed on negative thoughts. It's really difficult. It's a really strange experience. And maybe in normal jail in Western countries where you get to go and interact with people, you can distract yourself. But I was stuck in a room for 93 days in one room. I did not leave. That was where I was. I was allowed to go to the fridge once a day, which is a 3-meter walk, and back. That is it in my room.
You and Tristan are in the same room or no?
At the beginning we weren't, but then we ended up in the same room.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, the thoughts in jail are very pervasive. And it's also a long time, maybe never, in the outside world where I had a thought in my head for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. You just satisfy the problem. You fix the issue in the real world. In jail, you can't do that. So yeah, family and kids, and those are the positive things that you do think about. But it's difficult because I think of children, I think of legacy. And then if you're going to think of your legacy via your children, you have to think of your legacy via your actions.
I wanted to do Andrew Tate got a son, bro.
And then you have to sit and by extension go, well, truly, truly on my deathbed, truly, will I be happier if I gave up or if I continued to tell the truth? I'm scared of the regret of thinking, you know what, I was the most famous man in the world and every man on earth was listening to me and I was really making a difference, but I got scared. I don't think I can live with that. I don't think I can live as a coward. I'd feel like a pussy. I just feel like a wimp. And sometimes inside of men, that's all it takes for us to do the most stupid things there is. The idea of feeling like a coward. A man will run into a burning building to not be a coward. If the firefighter, they go, there's children in there, and the whole building's on fire. It's like, well, I can't be a coward. Oh, fuck it. And you'll risk your life. It's something that's built inside of us, honor and pride. It's something that should be. It's what they're trying to take away from us.
Facts.
It's what used to be built inside of men. And I just feel like I can't give up. I know what I'm doing is good. I know what I'm teaching is good. I know that people don't like it, but I know I'm not teaching anything that's bad. And yeah, I want my children to be happy, but I have daughters too. And how do you make sure that your daughters are secure and have a good future? Well, I think you do that by building good men. How else?
100%.
My daughter is mine now, but she won't be mine forever. She's going to marry somebody. I like the idea of her marrying a good man with honor and principle, a man like me. I don't want to marry some idiot. So they call me a misogynist and I'm anti-woman. I'm pro-woman. The best way you can improve the lives of women is make men, better at being men. Because when a man is a good man, he's good for all of society, including women. He's good for everyone around him when he's good at being a man.
The household.
So I feel like I'm helping them as well by extension. And it's difficult. And yeah, I can't say with honesty that I strongly considered giving up. It never crossed my mind. It was there for a second. Do I need to do this? And after like half a second, it was like, yeah, I do. I don't know why. I can't. It doesn't make logical sense.
So kids didn't influence it one way or another? That's what I want.
Kids made me want to do it more.
Kids made you want to do it more?
Kids made me want to do it more.
Got it.
I look up to my father as a hero, and I would hate for my sons to look up at me and not see me as a hero. Because that's how I believe you should see your dad, as a hero. And I feel like and you're not a hero without an enemy, and you're not a hero without a fight.
Did they ever try to, and by the way, I don't see this working effectively at all, but did they at all try to come in between you and Tristan, or you and the two girls, or the two of you and them? Was there any manipulation and divisiveness going on there?
What about these stories that came out that you've got cancer and lung cancer, and then you were poisoned, and these matrix attacks?
Yeah, so are
you planting these stories?
No.
Are they making these things
No,
up?
so the cancer thing is interesting, because by Romanian law, every 30 days to extend the arrest, there has to be new information. They can't extend the arrest based on the previous information. So they put together all this garbage case and arrested me for 30 days. To keep me another 30 days, they have to find something during that 30-day arrest period to keep me for the second month. But of course, there's nothing to find. So when I was having medical scans in Dubai, a dark spot was identified on my lung. And I had follow-up tests booked for February. So after the first 30 days, I called up my PA and she said, are you coming to Dubai? I said, well, yeah, if they let me go at the end of these 30 days, I'll come to Dubai for my medical tests. They took that conversation and shown it and used it in court, saying I'm trying to flee the country and trying to escape the judicial system as motivation for the second month's arrest. And the judge agreed and locked me in jail. Because
What the
I said I would go to a
hell?
medical appointment if I was free. And they used that as proof I'm trying to run, because they had nothing else, and the judge agreed it for some reason and kept me in jail.
What the hell,
Then
bro?
everything in Romania leaks. So it leaked that I had this medical thing in Dubai, I had a problem with my lungs, and then there's a hospital here, and I decided to go to the hospital here and have it looked at, because although I was not concerned, I thought, you know what, although it's difficult to do procedures in jail, I have time for once in my life. So I decided to go to the hospital here in Romania, and Romania does have some private healthcare, which is actually very high quality. It's not as poor as people think it is. And I went to a private hospital, and I knew it wasn't cancer. I knew it wasn't. I sat down with the doctor and said, we're really concerned about this dark spot in your lung. I said, it's not cancer. He said, how do you know? I said, that's just not my life path. It's not my story.
You told him that?
Yeah. The doctor was like, okay, but we have to investigate. I said, we can investigate, but it's just not my story. It's not cancer. I have 0%.
When BBC came,
Damn.
did you have guys like
But that shit was fake as hell. I don't know if y'all remember what had happened during that time, bro. That shit was going viral as hell, talking about Tate had lung cancer shit. So that shit was all made up. Damn.
watching every move they were making? You have to almost put like one-on-one, right? Somebody's watching everything they're doing.
Everything.
You have to do it, right? You can't be, you have to be overly paranoid and skeptical with these
If they
guys.
want to hear about, you know, Ricky Tang's crime lord, if they want to hear more about the crime syndicate in Hong Kong, I can tell them all about it, because Carter and Lee is going to get it under control. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. This is actually a really interesting point, which I'll go into before I finish the lung story. So I went to the doctors here. In Romania, everything leaks. It leaked out to the press. I had this mark on my lungs. I was supposed to go to Dubai. They denied me going to Dubai. They said that's enough reason to hold me and keep me in jail, which is absolutely insane, all because I had a phone call about a medical procedure. It's crazy. But they were always going to keep me anyway and find some reason. I went there, I had a bronchioscopy. Have you ever had one of them? Bro. I wouldn't call it painful, but it's certainly horrible. So they put a camera in your lung. So it's down your throat, but it's in your lung. It's not down your throat, it's into the airway. So you're trying to vomit and you're trying to cough, and you can barely do either, and they're moving this camera around inside. It's extremely unpleasant.
It sucks. I had it 3 years ago in Dallas for the whole allergy thing.
Did you have a bronchioscopy?
Yeah, they have to knock you out. It's terrible.
Yeah.
You've had the
Yeah,
same
absolutely.
procedure.
Were you awake or asleep?
No, they gave me anesthesia, so I was asleep.
Oh, bro, here.
What were you?
I was awake, wide awake.
Yeah.
Oh, I was wide awake.
Sounds exciting.
They gave me this, they tried to numb your throat a bit, and then they gave it to me, and the doctors all around me. It's kind of interesting because when something is in your mouth and you're choking, you want to grab it, right? So you're on a chair, and you're like tied to the chair, so you can't move your hands. So you're like tied to the chair, and you're like this, and they put this thing down your throat, this camera, and you're trying to vomit, and you're trying to cough, but they can't move the camera when you're coughing. So even the armed guard who took me, the police officer, the guy, he was in the corner of the room, and even I could see on his face, he was like, fucking hell. And I don't even want to reenact it because it's probably so horrible to look at, but you're just like you're trying to vomit, you're trying to cough, you're like, your face is bright red, you can't breathe, and they're like, stop coughing, stop coughing, stop coughing, and you have to try and stop coughing for like 2 seconds so they can adjust the camera.
Bro, it sounds like you're about to
It's the worst
die.
20 minutes of my life. It was horrible. They finish that and they go, okay, well, the good news is there's precisely 0 smoking damage on your lungs, and your lungs are perfect, but the lesion, whatever it is on the outside of your lungs. It's not on the inside of your lungs. We couldn't see anything. So I completed that procedure, went back to jail. That was a nice evening. Horrible. Anyone who has a bronchioscopy, yeah, go to sleep. Don't stay awake. Horrible. Then they said we have to find it. We have to get a biopsy from the outside of your lungs. So we have to put a needle through your back, a needle like this long, through your back, through your rib cage, to your lung, a CT guided biopsy it's called, and take a piece of it and then pull the needle back out and then do a biopsy on the piece. Now, they're like, this is an operation. Do you want to have it while you're in jail? Because the bronchioscopy wasn't much to recover from. I had a really sore throat, whatever. But this is an operation. Do you want to have it while you're in jail? And I was like, well, why not? I'm in jail. I have time. I can't recover, but I have time. So I went for my CT guided biopsy. They put you on your front. They show you the needle. It's like this long. And then they stick it in you, and then they scan you with the biopsy, and they try and see where the mark is, and they adjust the needle, and they scan it. It's like 30 minutes of them shoving this needle in you, trying to get to the right point. And eventually they did the biopsy, and they said, yeah, it's benign. Some lesion I might have had from when I had pneumonia when I was a kid or something. It's benign. And as I told you, I knew that cancer wasn't my life path. I knew it wasn't. But obviously rumors spread like wildfire.
Wildfire.
Everybody
in the States.
Especially because I smoke.
Tate's got cancer.
Especially because I smoke all the time.
Right.
But it was actually very refreshing to hear. I have 0 smoking damage on my lungs. 0. I was like, there's 0? I mean, I'll accept a little bit. I'll take a little bit. But I think it's because I train every single day. I work out every single day. I train hard every single day. And I think, you burn it off. A couple cigars here and there are not a big deal. It's not cigarettes. I think cigars are better than cigarettes. I also believe nicotine is a super drug, so I'm not going to stop. I think nicotine and caffeine.
A super drug?
100%.
What does that mean?
Nicotine and caffeine are what I run on. 100, that's all I run on. Coffee's for closers, bro. Tell him.
I'm the only one that drinks coffee between the two of us.
Oh, really?
By the way, you know who talked about nicotine? Tucker Carlson talked about nicotine, right? Have you seen that when he talks about nicotine, where he starts his day off with nicotine?
Fire, 100%. Fire blood. I have about 10 to 15 cups of coffee a day and 2 or 3 cigars a day, and I only eat once a day. And it's funny because people look at
10 to 15
cups of coffee a day minimum.
Wow. But you don't do drugs.
0 drugs.
You'll have a sip of alcohol every once in a while.
I used to. I haven't had alcohol in 9 months. I've quit.
But you're running on caffeine and nicotine.
It's funny because people look at my physique when I put pictures up and they're like, what's your meal plan? I'm like, bro, cigars, coffee.
Coffee and cigars.
Coffee and cigars. I eat once a day.
What time?
I eat dinner only.
That's it?
Only eat dinner and 18.
So you do intermittent fasting for
Every day.
18 hours? What?
Yeah. And 80 to 90% of my calories are meat. That's it. I'll just have like 3 steaks for dinner.
Now, how much of that is genetics? How much is that like?
I'm not sure if it's genetics, but that's just how I feel best. I feel best when, if I smoke and drink coffee all the time, I feel hungry, which motivates me, and I feel energetic. It's energetic hungry. That's how I like to feel when I'm working. I want to be hungry. If I eat, I'm tired. Life's too good if I eat. I'm in my mansion.
That is facts.
Just eating. She's beautiful.
That is facts.
No, but if I, yeah, but.
Because if I'm being transparent, I had 8 about an hour ago. We've been off for an hour 37 minutes by 8. Yeah, before stream, and I've been tired as hell.
If I don't eat, I'm like, maybe I wouldn't say angry, but I like to have that tinge of irritableness. Does that make sense? I don't know. Maybe I sound crazy. It's how I get things done. It's how I get life done. It's just how
12 cups of coffee a day, 3 cigars, and you eat once a day.
That's right, yeah.
And you train every day.
I train every day, yeah.
And it's working.
Well,
working for you.
It's how I feel best.
I don't know if you wrote a book on Tate's diet, if that book would do well.
Well, this is interesting because I had a blood test when I was in hospital for all these things, and my testosterone level, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on male hormones because I'm not. I don't understand them. I don't know what measurement it's in, but it was between 9 and 27 is the testosterone level, the mark. It can be between 9 and 27, the normal range. I've never taken a steroid in my life. I don't inject anything. I don't take any pills, nothing. And I was 32. I was above the normal scale, and I'm 36 years old. It's supposed to be going down. So whatever I'm doing, I'm sticking to.
What was your diet and your regimen while in jail? There was no coffee?
I had coffee and cigarettes. Don't worry, bro. I had those.
Really?
I spent my commissary money on coffee and cigarettes. I had coffee and cigarettes and 1 meal a day, same.
So there was commissary money?
Yeah, so we had
Who gave you that?
Boy,
Yeah,
cigarettes?
so a friend of mine put money on my account. So I was a rich guy in jail, because in Romanian jail, most people haven't got money, right? I was rich. I was rich. There's a limit to how much you can buy, but I was spending the maximum. So I had plenty of cigarettes, coffee. I actually quit coffee. Now we're talking about coffee, and then I want to go back to the point you made earlier, but I quit coffee for the first 30 days in jail, because I've never not been caffeinated. My experience of life is caffeinated. Caffeinated human.
Caffeinated.
If I'm awake, it's caffeine. So I'm like, I don't need energy now. I'm in jail. So I quit caffeine and all coffee for 30 days to see if there's any tangible benefits. And I can confirm to the world that there are none. Zero. I did not sleep any better. I did not go to sleep any easier. I did not dream anymore. Nothing, absolutely nothing good happened except I was tired all day. It was garbage. I was like, give me my coffee back. I went back to my 15 cups of coffee a day.
Reaffirmed your
wild
coffee.
to have that much
He
coffee.
went back to the 15
The last
cups.
time I drank coffee, I was 25.
We have one friend.
Literally.
We have one friend that drinks almost as much
Mario
coffee.
drinks
Mario.
as much as
Shout
you.
out to
And by the
Mario.
way, everybody around me loves coffee, including my 11-year-old son, Tico. Him and his mom got into an argument the other day because she didn't want to take him to Starbucks. He's like, what do you mean? It's like, I want some coffee. He's like, you're not having coffee at 11 years old. Anyways, but it's working for you. It's working for your body. Correct. Sometimes when you find a diet or a combination that hits your body well, you'll know it, you'll feel it. And you have to know your body the best.
Correct. I think there's no perfect diet for everybody.
I agree.
Everyone's slightly different.
I agree.
And that's just, and I think you are what you eat to a degree, and it also depends the mental model you want to operate under. If I wanted to operate under comfort, I certainly wouldn't eat the way I eat. I do it because I particularly want to operate under a degree of irritability and high energy and hunger. I like feeling hungry. I don't like feeling full.
I work better when I'm hungry.
I like being hungry all the time.
I love that. I mean, that's the quality of people where
I'm about to try that out tomorrow, but I don't know if that's good to try out because I knocked doors in fucking 100-degree weather in Texas for fucking 8 hours. I don't know if that's the best. I mean, as long as I got water, I should be good, right? As long as I'm hydrated, I'm straight. I might bring a granola bar for some energy, but I'm.
you know, you can tell a lot from
I'm about some granola bars and like eat a granola bar, some shit.
somebody how big
If
they
I get
think
low on
after they
energy,
make
I get a
money
headache or some
and they have
shit.
some success. When they make money, that's when they slow down. That's when they get casual. The hunger goes away. You'll really know if somebody's hungry when they made money and they're still going. What is this guy doing still going? You've already made the money. You've already had the success. Let's transition to a couple other stories here. So all of a sudden you put in your profile, obviously I joked about it, you're the most Googled woman on earth. You know, that was based on your Twitter profile. You know, Nina Turner comes out and says, if somebody says they're a woman, not a tough concept. Your response is, I'm a woman, right? You do that. And you've left it on Twitter. Tell us why.
Because I am.
Oh, he said.
You don't believe me?
You're a woman?
Are you misgendering me?
I have to choose to agree with you, right?
My
I don't believe
pronouns
you.
are she, her. No, but the level of, it's all a joke, right?
It really is.
There's
It's funny
actually
as
a
hell.
very sinister-
You know it's crazy. I love like this job is like the sales job. It's so crazy because nobody up in there really like a blue pilled libtard for real. Like nobody. They probably got like one person like stupid as hell that believe all that. No, I don't even think it's a single person in office that believe that all that dumb gender shit, bro. So like we all be making jokes out of that shit, bro. Like we be like, yeah, I identify as she, they, and shit, and then we just be like, oh yeah, it's Pride Month, man. We don't judge and shit, cause like when we role playing, cause like in sales, like you gotta practice a lot, you gotta train a lot. So you role play somebody play the customer, somebody pitching a customer trying to sell him with our product, whatever we selling. I don't want y'all to get no hints on what the hell I be selling and shit. So yeah, so somebody be like, yeah, my pronouns are she, they, and my child is non-binary and shit. That should be hilarious, bro.
undertone to all of this garbage.
That shit
And
is
the
a
sinister
joke.
undertone is that your baseline instincts and your baseline senses.
Crazy how the veterans get a day, and the fucking pride tards, the rainbow punks get a whole fucking month.
Of how you've always
around.
perceived the world, right? They have to attack them at some level, and they did. I mean, it's fantastic with COVID. COVID, I know we can talk about it now. It was amazing. I used to say to people all the time, "Who have you seen die? Do you see a pandemic?"
No.
Yeah, on the news. No. Do you see ambulances rushing back and forth everywhere? Do you see bodies on the street? Do you see lines outside of hospitals? Do you see a pandemic? How a pandemic would look? Do you see a pandemic? Oh, but my friend's grandma, your friend's grandma was 96. Okay? So I'm not saying it's not sad. I'm saying she was 96. Do you see a pandemic? No, you don't. But they have just lied to you so many times that you're ignoring your own eyes. That's the final stage of the slave mind. It's the final stage of it. The final stage of the slave mind is when your eyes tell you this is green, but the news told you it was blue. So it has to be blue. So when they're doing these things, it's nothing to do with caring about the mental health, gender ideology, none of this garbage. They're deliberately attacking you and saying, what your eyes tell you is wrong. Because if they can make you start to admit that your own eyes are wrong, then what other defense do you have against propaganda? If they're going to give you a lie, but your own eyes can't protect you, well then it's over, isn't it? So all of these things they're doing, all of these things are a deliberate assault on the senses. And they do it by controlling the language. If you control what someone says, over time, you'll control what they think. You don't think what you don't say. It's very hard to live a life for 8 years, if you're lucky, and think things and never say them ever. If you think it, you're going to say it sometimes. You're going to give the idea, get some feedback on the idea, build on the idea, change the idea, whatever it is, through discussion. If you never, ever, ever discuss it, you're not going to think it. So they say, this is the truth, ignore your eyes, and you have to say it's the truth. You can't say it's not the truth. And the people who are in charge of the world, they think generationally. They have time. Right now it's a joke. 200 years from now it won't be a joke. 200 years from now it'll all be fucking standard operating protocol. The grandchildren, the people who are in charge now, that's what they want. They'll pull it off in the end.
They will.
Slow, incremental damage. Yep. They do it with nearly everything. They'll take all your rights away. They'll take 100 of your rights away. They'll upset.
It's like, it's so easy for me to understand this, but somebody with such a low IQ and don't understand, well, somebody with like such low IQ wouldn't understand what he's saying right now. But I fell for the COVID shit. Like, I was like 16, but I still fell for this shit. Like, well, nah, I don't care. It's not that I fell. I didn't give a fuck. Nigga, I was out of school. We was on 2K 24 hours every single day. I woke up and played 2K and Fortnite and ate zebra cakes and strawberry shortcakes and ice cream and fried chicken and Kool-Aid and shit. So I didn't really give a fuck about none of that shit. But now looking back with the parents and my grandma and the family and them, they was all terrified of that shit. Like they was like, it was all scared as hell. It's like true. Like if you think about it, like who actually was dying? Nobody that I know died from COVID. Besides a lady friend of mine's, one of her old uncles that go to the church, and he like I think like 87, like when he died. You know, but they blame that on COVID, and a lot of people believe, oh shit, people's dying from COVID. Had everybody in the church masked up, separated, had to do church outside. It was fucking crazy. Got people wearing masks in their own house, bro. Had us wearing masks to school, couldn't breathe or whatever. It's insane.
They give you 99 back.
Insane.
We're good again. Don't worry. And the grandchildren of the people in charge of the world get what they want in the end. They think generationally. So now we're at the beginning of it. It's all a big joke, right? But especially before Elon had Twitter, when you couldn't say the truth online, when you couldn't say my eyes see X on the internet without going to jail or losing your account or getting a hate speech charge in the UK or some garbage, they're controlling what you think. And on a long enough time frame, what you think becomes true. We all believe 2 + 2 is 4. But with a hard enough psyop, if you can't say that, if you have to say it's 5, on a long enough time frame, math breaks down and everyone's just going to believe that 2 + 2 = 5. That's what happens.
You think we're going to get there?
Have you ever seen the experiment? There's a really interesting experiment with monkeys and a banana and a water spout. Have you ever seen this? They put 5 monkeys in a room. And at the top of the room, there was a banana. And when one monkey tried to climb up to get the banana, they turn on the hose and splash all the monkeys with ice cold water. So the monkey would come back down and wouldn't get the banana. And when another monkey would go to climb up, they'd splash all the monkeys with ice cold water. And what would happen over time is, when a monkey went to climb the rope to get the banana, the other monkeys would jump and pull him down and hit him and teach him a lesson. Don't go for that banana. If you go for that banana, we get splashed with water. Then they'd swap one of the monkeys out.
I get what he's.
Now there's a new monkey in the room. Doesn't know the game.
That's a fire analogy.
The new monkey would attempt to climb, and all 4 monkeys would attack the monkey, pull him back down, and kick his ass. He knows if he climbs the rope to get the banana, he gets attacked. He doesn't know he gets splashed with water if he gets the banana. He doesn't know the game, but he knows if I try and climb, they're going to attack me. After a certain amount of weeks, they change another monkey, and another monkey, and another monkey. Over time, you have 5 brand new monkeys who have never been splashed with water ever. But nobody goes to climb the rope, because if they do, they're attacked by all the other monkeys. And nobody even knows why.
Damn.
That's just
Damn.
If you climb that rope, we beat you up.
That shit is facts, bro. Like, this nigga have a way with the words, and it's fucking incredible, bro. Like, no dick suck. It's incredible. Like, only thing you can do is sit down and, like, listen to how fluent he. I guess y'all not really, like, catching it. It's how, like, but it's like, as a salesperson, I see it, like, the way he communicate, like, through body language, tonality. It's like he really controlling people emotions just by speaking it. It's crazy the shit they teach you in sales. Like, it's crazy. It's like mentally understanding and mentally manipulating and, like, controlling people emotions through, like, literally when we knock a door, we like to use neighbors as like a third-party reference, so they, you know, trust us to do what we do or whatever when we go knock doors and shit. So what they told us to do is, like, body language is important and shit like that. I'll make a video on it, like, giving out some sales advice and shit. So body language and tonality, I believe body language was I think it was like 62%, some shit like that. Tonality was like 55%, and, like, words like 7. I know the number's completely off, but it was some shit like that, bro. But if you, like, point at the street, or, like, if you point somewhere, somebody is looking that way. Like, if you point here, like, are you literally controlling somebody to look that way? It's fucking insane, bro. It's crazy. If you just make a weird ass face to this person, like, say I just make this face, like, you just, like, I'm literally control your emotions, and now you laugh. It's crazy, bro.
How it works. That's what
Sales really, like, sales is crazy.
they're doing on a long enough time scale to
I love it, by the way.
There are already X amount of people on the planet. There's already a population, X%, who knows what it is, who ignore their own eyes and repeat what they are told. You can't say that that's not what they're doing, because they're already successful with X amount of the population. They've begun. The seed is there. 2%, 3%, 7%, who knows? They've already proven they can do it. Now it's just a matter of not shutting up and hammering at home. Make sure they repeat it in schools. Children are young. They believe things. They're impressionable. Hammer it to the kids, especially. Put it in every Disney movie. Give it to the kids all day long.
Yep.
They grow up sooner or later. Long enough time.
Give it to their
that's
kids.
It's generational
Cycle.
attacks.
Do you
Cycle.
think that's going to work, though? Because
Facts.
let me maybe unpack the question. So I'm from Glendale. I went to Glendale High School, and Staloy, right? So yesterday, a big fight broke out in Glendale. Massive, it's all over the news.
Yep.
So the fight was over these parents, Armenian parents, who were for 4 years are like, listen, we don't mind if you're gay, but don't teach our 4-year-olds about transgender.
Yep.
Don't put these books in. Finally, yesterday, big old brawl.
Yep.
It's all over the news. They're fighting. Armenian parents are like, we're not going to tolerate
I bet you the rainbows got their ass whooped.
this. This is just not going to happen to us, right? Then you go to YouTube. YouTube comes back and says,
We gotta watch that shit.
hey, starting such and such, all the videos that were put up about, you know, the election and, you know, whether it was a fake election or not, were
Hold on, we gotta watch that shit real quick. Get some context on this shit. Massive brawl. Oh shit. I'm liking this shit.
News with live breaking.
Are they gonna copyright me though?
Breaking news, fights break out outside the Glendale School Board meeting as board members prepare to recognize June as Pride Month.
Yes,
Hello,
sir.
thank you so much
Fuck
for
the
joining us as
rainbows.
we stream live. I'm Colleen Sullivan. This is Eyewitness News at 6:30. Chris Christie is live overhead
Fuck the
in Air 7
rainbows.
HD with the very latest right now. Chris.
That's right, Colleen. A confrontational protest with protesters.
Bro, I hope I don't get copyright. It's gonna ruin the whole fucking video. It's gonna piss me off, bro.
Counter protesters in front of the Glendale Unified School District, where that meeting was taking place to declare June Pride Month. However, the Glendale Police Department has asked them to go into recess as they are not allowing anybody else inside the building following a brawl out here in the parking lot. They were keeping the defenders of the LGBT community away from the conservative group who was protesting Pride Month. Pull out their riot gear.
Man, fuck this. I want to see the fight.
Say the angry rhetoric only hurts the kids.
I think when the conversation turns violent, school board members resign, teachers quit, schools fail.
The superintendent says the district is simply following the state's curriculum and says a lot of erroneous misinformation.
I want to see the fight. Yeah, now he talking. Yeah, now he talking. A brawl erupted outside the Glendale. And if y'all wonder, like, don't be like, oh yeah, he promoting violence and blah blah blah. Nah, I'm not promoting violence. I'm just happy that we finally got people standing up for what's right and nobody backing down from that bullshit. Cause if I got a 7-year-old kid or however old my kid is and he's in school and they teaching him about gender identity and wanting him to, like, basically making him change his gender, like, somebody need to get punched in the mouth. Like, real talk. A meeting on LGBTQ studios was being held. It beat his ass. I know the Rainbow's getting beat up. The Rainbow men are a bunch of weenie, fat ass niggas. So I know they getting their ass whooped by the masculine niggas and shit. Yeah, they getting their ass whooped. Look at he getting his ass. The LGBTQ. The Rainbow tried to hit. Look at the Rainbow. Hey, look at Pink. Hey, this the Rainbow right here. The Rainbow tried to. Hey, that you seen that soft punch? This is why masculinity is important. You seen that soft punch? That soft punch he just threw? He just tapped him on the back of his head with his left hand. Like, look at that soft punch. Look at it. Like, that didn't do nothing to him. And now he punched. Yeah, beat his ass. Yeah, this I like to see right here. Yes, sir. Step on the Rainbow. Fuck the Rainbows. Yeah, that's I like to see right here. Now look how weak that, like, the Rainbows don't stand for shit. Like, look, she bleed, I think. W, bro. W. Maybe they'll stop teaching kids bullshit. And all y'all that's gonna be in the comments crying, don't type in my comments, bro. I don't care about what you got to say, bro. If somebody was teaching your kid that BS about changing genders and transformers and all that shit, you'll be the same way, bro.
We're no longer going to give a strike or take those videos down. They can stay up there, right? This is totally fine. Then you see the Surgeon General comes out, the attorney, I don't know if you saw this one here, he comes out with an article saying new Surgeon General advisory raises alarm about the devastating impact of the epidemic of loneliness and isolation in the United States. This is the same guy that was part of the camp, is now saying, hey, our epidemic of loneliness and isolation has been an underappreciated public health crisis that has harmed individuals and social health, our relationship, our source of healing, et cetera, et cetera. This is the same guy that said, wait a minute, lockdown, you know, do this, do that. So the more and more arguments are coming out against even ESG. I don't know how close you follow ESG, where, why are we doing this? Did you see how much Target lost? $10 billion? Did you see how much Bud Light lost? 25%, 12%? This is no longer working. Well, if you wonder, like even one of the insurance companies I work with closely, it's one of our biggest one we work with. Yesterday, I see their post on Instagram. Well, because of Pride Month, we're doing this. I know the people in that company, but they just raised a few $100 million. One of the companies they gave the money to was one of these bigger guys, the Vanguard, BlackRock, and State Street. So when you take money from those guys, you have to have a certain ESG score. But a lot of people are now saying this is not a proven formula that it works. Stop doing it. So do you think guys like you, who are maybe in business, who are maybe in church, they're saying, Pope, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Who are maybe in the Christian church, who are maybe in different denominations, they're in the military, sitting back saying, I didn't sign up for this. So meaning successfully, do you think these guys will be able to manipulate their agendas down everybody's throat, or there's going to be certain people standing up?
Well, certainly I'd like to believe that the tide is shifting and we're starting to get some degree of victory against the matrix as a whole. I do believe that the public sentiment is shifting. However, The fight is long and it's very, very difficult because I agree with what you're saying. Only a year ago, I would argue it completely and say it's basically over. I'm actually very impressed with the ground we've taken back with common sense. But these people operate so slowly. It's generational, these attacks. The attacks we're suffering now were started in the 70s and 80s. They take it over time. And yes, it's fantastic that those parents fought back against that school. That's fantastic. But there's a whole bunch of schools where they didn't. And who knows, okay, that particular book might be removed. A softer version will be implemented. Next year, maybe that book will come back. They have all the time in the world, all the money in the world, and they're insulated from these things. That's what's most scary. You talk about Vanguard and BlackRock and all these companies. What's actually scary about it is the people who are making these decisions are completely insulated from the consequences of their decisions. They're in Switzerland. They fly private. They don't care. You think they care about any of this crap? They'll say, oh, do this. Oh, it's caused a riot. They don't live there. They're nowhere near it. They have nothing to do with it. When is the last time you've even seen a politician? Do these people even exist? They're nothing to do with where they operate. It's actually amazing. When I was in Dubai once, I think it was about 3 years ago, I saw the leader of Dubai walking through the mall. I was like, he's a person and he just walks through the mall. I was so impressed. Imagine a Western leader walking through the mall. Never. Never. Never in a million years. It's just pieces of paper, private jet, vanish. All these people who are in charge of everything don't even live in these communities. I do believe that, yes, we can win, because I don't think you can fight to the best of your ability if all hope is lost. I do believe we're winning and taking ground back, absolutely. And I believe that we're doing that by purely telling the truth. What our eyes see is what's real. And we're doing it in the name of God, because you're saying Armenians are strictly religious. I think God and religion is one of the best ways you can combat these things. However, the fight is never ending, because they're never ending going to try and implement. You talk about ESG scores. This garbage they put together, that's not going to end. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse over time. And it's kind of unfortunate and it's kind of upsetting that we still have this system where the people can be unhappy with something. The peasants can revolt to a degree. But
my fault, y'all. Somebody was hurt in the house and I had to bring them an ice pack and shit. You know, crunches and shit, so, you know.
Does it even really matter?
All right, what did I miss, though? I got a popsicle, too.
You get to a point of power where you don't care about money. And then things are really difficult, right? When you control everything, you don't care about money. I mean, I'd like to actually argue. We talk about Bud Light. This Mulaney, whatever is it?
Dylan Mulvaney.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dylan Mulvaney.
Sweetheart, yeah.
And yeah, I know we've damaged their share price, et cetera, et cetera. I would believe people who own that company or are beyond that company, I don't think they truly give a fuck.
InBev.
I don't think they care. Maybe they care a bit. I don't think they're losing that much sleep over it. Maybe they are, a little bit. But I'm saying you get to degrees of power and levels of power where you don't care about money. I'll give you a perfect example of it. I know we keep going back to this, but it was actually a massive pivotal event in awakening so many people was the COVID scam. I said this multiple times in many different countries I visited. I said, if they cared about you, they would have left everything open, maybe put a tax on everything, extra tax percent, whatever, and built hospitals. Why didn't they do that? Why did they lock you all up? Because it's a mass compliance exercise.
That's a good point. That's a good ass point.
They don't give a shit about your health. They just want you to comply. They want to test how many people comply. And people were saying, yeah, it's all about money, it's all about profit. And I said, that's actually a very optimistic way to look at it. I think that if you destroy the economy and lock everyone in their houses and destroy everyone's businesses, you don't care about money. You're beyond money. You're above money. You want power and you want control. Because once you become actually rich, you learn that the world is all just about people, right? The best things in your life are people. The best things in your life are family. The things that make you happiest are your friends. Your life experience is the best if you have good team around you, good assistants, good helpers, good staff, whatever it is. It's all about people and controlling people. What do you want money for? To get other people to do what you want. That's all money is. I want a Lamborghini. I can't build one. He can. I will pay him to build me a Lamborghini. It's all about people. So once you get beyond a certain level of money, and there's a certain level of control you want that money perhaps can't buy, then you think, well, I don't care about the money. I want the power. I don't want money. I want them to stay in their houses. Why? Because it says so. I don't have to. They have to. Ha ha ha. It's funny. And I've said that and sat with people and they said, do you really think people in charge of the world are so petty that they would lock everyone in their houses so they can laugh? I say, yeah, I actually do. I think if you were born into a wealthy family where money has precisely zero value, and you are arrogant to the moon because you're this whoever, and you believe you're God's gift, and you don't, a Ferrari ain't gonna make you happy. Who cares about Ferrari? Ferrari's free. It's pennies. You don't care about any of this shit. What makes you happy is everyone respecting you and being afraid of you. To a degree, you're going to try and influence some power and fear. I think that's what it is. So I think a lot of these companies, when they're doing these things and they're upsetting people, etc., yeah, it's good that we're fighting back, but I also think part of them enjoy the show. I think part of them genuinely enjoy the show. I think part of them go, you know what? Let's do, this is insane. Let's do this. Ah, they're fighting. I really believe it. I know it's a pessimistic way to look at it, but I think they enjoy the show apart from.
I don't disagree with you in regards to that. I can see that how, you know, you see it in movies or scenes where, you know, condescending, arrogant, you know, and they kind of want to, they enjoy bullying the guy that can't help himself, right? Hey, do this. Hey, clean up, pick this up. Look at this. He'll do anything that I need him to do, right? I fully believe that those types of things exist. But, man, empires have fallen so many times because they thought they can get away with murder.
It's true.
And then eventually people said, listen, stop. You're not going to do this to me anymore. We're not going to take a stand. And typically when that happens, you said it earlier, you know, what is really what's going on in Glendale or some of these other cities that people are protesting? Why is there an organization called Gays Against Groomers? Gays Against Groomers? What? What do you do? He says, man, I just wanted to be gay and leave me alone. I'm not trying to be, you know, grooming kids. That's not my job. I just want to be gay. Leave me alone. We've made so much progress. These guys, I'm not that guy. I'm not this person, right? So
yeah, and all gay people are not like that, by the way. Like, I know some gay people that do not fuck with the rainbow flags shit, bro. Like they're not a fan of any of that shit, bro. Like, I got family members that are not a fan of that shit, but like, they got like most of them are like fucking stupid as hell. Either it's probably not most of them, it's probably a loud minority, but either way they dumb as hell, and they deserve death. The death penalty, by the way, not somebody actually kill them, but the death penalty.
I think the part,
because it's haram what they doing to people, kids.
Part that they fear the most. If you read Communist Manifesto, there's a book written by Cleon Skousen. I think he was like a former CIA agent for like 15 years. He wrote a book called The Naked Communist. One of the things he talks about how getting rid of God, well, they're succeeding in that area, but not fully yet. You know, getting rid of the family nucleus, well, we already know what is the purpose of this LGBTQ movement? What is the purpose of this transgender? What is the purpose of, let me get this straight, this person cannot buy a gun at 13. This person cannot go in the military at 13. This person cannot vote at 18. This person cannot own a car at 13, but they can transition.
Tate as always, not for real though, bro. It was good though, Drake. Tate as always, like you said, bro.
The most important decision of their lives you're okay with? Yes. Now, that doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense to me. I think you said something at the beginning. The concept of being tolerant, you know what? Yeah, it's okay. We can have gays. Oh, it's okay. We can have this. It's okay. Listen, man. You've crossed the line a little bit. I think faith, family, kids, values, principles, they fear the hell out of it.
Absolutely.
And I think that community is rising up.
No, you're totally right. But you made a really interesting point there about empires falling, and this is where I kind of feel like we're entering a new stage of the world.
What's good, Big Rom Chiller? I'm glad to hear that, bro. Shit, you ain't getting put out. I'm telling that my school ain't much going on. Glad you ain't getting put out of school or anything, bro. You staying out of trouble, Dre?
Because it's never really done before. Because typically when empires fell, the world was far more polarized. If the empire fell, there was nowhere for the corrupt dictators of said empire to go. The empire's fallen. Let's say England fell. You can't. It's very hard to get exile in France. You could do it a little bit, but let's say America fell today. Let's say it completely collapsed and it fell. The people who archetyped that downfall, do you think they'd be in America? Do you think they'd be sitting there waiting to get scooped up? Do you know who they are? Can you recognize them? What's their name? Even if you could, do you think they're in America or do you think they're skiing in Switzerland? This globalism, the whole point of globalism is that they don't care when empires fall. When you globalize the world, then you have a chessboard. I lost the knight. Doesn't matter. Put the bishop. Sack the queen. Who cares? There's so many things I want to say, but I don't want to die. But there's truth. This can be proven and shown even with this current proxy war. Europe and all the gas prices and the inflation rate in Europe has gone to the moon to fund this proxy war in Ukraine. Why has this happened? Because America's in charge of everything, and America has decided that Europe has to bear the brunt of the bullshit for its proxy war. You're going to have higher gas prices, you're going to have inflation, you're going to have mass civil unrest, you're going to deal with it all. And we're going to sit over here and insulate ourselves because we have the global reserve currency. And the war is going to happen over there, and everyone's going to die, and we're in charge. So now we have this globalism. How can an empire?
All right, yeah, we're going to cut it right there, bro. We do got to finish this shit up, bro. But like I said, I am learning sales and shit, so I am in the heat for 8 hours a day, bro. So I do have to get sleep because I do not want to pass out in that heat. Ooh, bars. That was not okay. That was bars. But hey, everybody watching on YouTube, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. And I'm serious when I say pull up to the Twitch streams for real. Every single night is a Twitch stream pull up. Oh God, I'm doing good. I'm straight. It's Friday. I'm at home watching Tate, getting my shit straight. Yes, sir, bro. Oh, damn, you rhyming too, dropping bars and shit, bro. Nah, for real, bro. Make sure y'all become the best version of yourself, bro. Stay positive, bro. Be grateful for what you got in front of you. Don't worry about the shit that you don't got in front of you, bro. And yeah, bro, I'll see y'all tomorrow night, bro. I'm about to go take me a nice shit and take me a shower, do some push-ups, and I'm going to bed. To bed, I say.